tell you when's the last time I got so serious about something like this Slapshot remake discussion. And we've had some really good ones coming in here. Jeff in Winnipeg, Camilla says the Baldwin brothers for the Hansons. Wayne in Victoria agrees with my Zach Galifianakis as Denis Lemieux. Denis Lemieux, continuons sa saison. Who would be Dickie Dunn? I feel like Elliot Friedman should play Dickie Dunn. But I think that Billy Bob Thornton is a slam dunk as Reg Dunlop, because this is a very, very important role. This would be the role that might define Billy Bob Thornton's career.
It's the role.
It's the role. And I will go along with Billy Bob Thornton as Reg Dunlop. That's how big of a fan I am of his and of Reg Dunlop's, and nobody has come close to anybody else.
Somebody mentioned Steve Carell. Steve Carell maybe is Jim Carr.
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
He could be Jim Carr. That works for me.
No. The guy whose idea this was in the first place, Robin Wildy, he's watching in PA. He says Liam Neeson as Joe McGrath. Liam Neeson's way too cool to play Joe McGrath. Way too cool.
Somebody mentioned
John in Winnipeg. John Danny DeVito.
Yeah.
As Joe McGrath.
Yeah. Slam dunk.
Perfect.
Oh, how about that? Get ready for the Rod Pedersen Show. How about that?
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Yeah. We're back at it. Canada's daytime sports talk show on the air. It's one of those tremendous days. I'm going to tell you why in a second. It's a great day to have a great day. Moose joins us from Toronto. We're ready to go. Thank you, Clark, for putting up the poll question. I'll tweet it shortly. We've got a lot of fun things to get to today, Moose. The guests, I'm pretty excited about this. Edmonton Elks quarterback Trey Ford is going to be with us in hour 1 and in hour 2. Mike Richards, the iconic Canadian broadcaster, has a brand new show debuting in Calgary. We'll be discussing that. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't mind talking CFL football all winter. If the CFL wants to keep putting their people on this show, I'll keep talking it. I'm not going to talk CFL for the sake of talking it like some shows. But if you want to put your people on, I'm here for it, man. Because as one of my advisors said, hockey's your passion, football's your business. And business is good, and I'm excited to chat with Trey Ford. I know you are too. What's on your mind before we get down to business, Moose, and stop with a preamp?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. What's on my mind is this show and what we're going to get to today. So let's get to it.
Good stuff. All right, can you hit the quick six show horn, guys, and we'll get after it.
How about that?
Thank you, BW in Edmonton says, awesome. John Ohm in Winnipeg says, great guests today. If you have questions for Trey Ford coming up in hour 1, send them my way. But Darren knows what I'm smiling about. I have had Edmonton media writing me going, ask him this, ask him that. Stand down. We'll do the asking. You can ask him on your show the questions that you want. Okay, Moose, I try. You and I were just talking before the show. This is my 4th Christmas spent in the USA. And we try to keep this show separate from my American shows. Sometimes they morph, though. The topics sometimes morph. Like today, our number 1 point is this. North Carolina's trustees have approved terms of the deal to hire Bill Belichick as the Tar Heels' new football coach. The board met this morning to sign off on the agreement. It was announced last night by the school, the University of North Carolina Tar Heels. 5-year deal, $50 million. Specific terms of the deal aren't released. The school is set to hold its introductory news conference for the 6-time Super Bowl winning coach this afternoon. Belichick has never coached in college football. To say that I'm fascinated by this, we all are. As football people, football fans, whatever, obviously you are too. So we've got a lot to get to, but this is like just the latest zany, kooky thing of a kooky, bizarro world of what we're in sports right now. When you saw that Belichick was even interviewing with North Carolina, I'm wondering what your thoughts were. I did a little digging into this. It's still very crazy and from another planet, but not maybe as crazy as you think. Belichick's dad coached there at North Carolina in the 1950s. He's not been welcomed back by the NFL, as Mike Florio said this morning from Pro Football Talk. I was listening to him. Nobody wanted him in the NFL. And the Tar Heels came to Bill. So those are some of the things I'm sure you've been doing some investigating on it too.
My first thought when this all came down was, okay, really, but I thought this was, okay, to drum up some interest around Bill, and then the NFL teams will bite. And he'll use this as a way to really publicly put out there that, oh, Bill's ready to coach and he wants to coach. We all kind of thought that he did, but now it's out there, right? And now there's a team interested. I thought this was just kind of like a fishing expedition in order to get some interest from the NFL. And I know the NFL's a little bit nervous. I think that's the biggest thing, nervous about Bill and not really wanting to go down that path. But at the end of the day, now that it's official, I think the way that I would describe how I'm feeling about it is crazy, but I'm more intrigued and excited to see how this all plays out in North Carolina.
I totally think that we all are. It's a fantastic story. You've been looking at the same things I have. And to be honest, 36 years I've been in this perilous trade. And through all that, I've come to several summations, but here's one generalization. I don't believe what you see. I always think there's more than what meets the eye, more than what it seems. There's always an undercurrent. But in this case, Darren, I don't think that there is. It's everything that you just said. He couldn't get an NFL job. This next opportunity is there. He's 72. And to sit there and think, you can't possibly need the money. Don't even think about that. He's doing it because he loves it. My counselor is in his mid to late 70s, my Yoda of the counseling world that I go to for my problem. He's not doing it because he needs the money. He does it because he loves it. And that's why Belichick's coaching. And there's a little bit of what you say. Like, I'd hate to think that this is a springboard to the next thing. It's just something new. I saw a statement from Jennifer Jones on Facebook yesterday or the day before. Did you see this? Where she said stepping away from curling has not been as tough as she thought it would be, and thanks for all the support. And she's like, I'm getting my fix by the mixed doubles with Brent Lang, but I'm on the new exciting things. I think there's a lot to this. So do you just circle back on what you said? Do you think that his end goal is to get back to the NFL, or do you think he's doing this for the new challenge?
I think it's a little bit of both. I don't necessarily think that it's a full end game, but I think, Bill just wants to coach. And one thing we did see about Bill in his time on TV, I think the people who know him and are around him and are in that world know that he does have a personality and that he is, I think, a good person. And we see some of those traits come across on TV. Doesn't happen. We don't see that in front of the media when he's coaching and he puts that on. And how much of that is real, how much is manufactured. But, I think when you look at it, he just wants to coach and he wants to, build the legacy and continue to build the legacy. And this will be an opportunity to do that. And we're already seeing players at UNC announce on social they're pulling themselves out of the portal because they want to stay and they want to see what this is going to be all about. And, he's already hired a GM who actually comes from this network. He was on Game Plus, Michael Lombardi from VSiN. Who's been on this now. He goes to become the GM with Bill. So that program he talked about is actually starting to take shape.
There's a lot of sides to this. And I was listening to Chris Sims this morning. He's on with Florio, and Sims played for Belichick with the Patriots, but also went to UNC. So he's like, I'm fascinated by all of this. And you said, what is he like away from the cameras, away from the podium? We don't know, but consider this. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he's not. I don't know him. I have a lot of NFL friends. He's not one. Going by what I see, he doesn't seem like a really good guy. He doesn't, right? But so what? I don't think Tom Brady really liked him. I get that sense, Darren. As a matter of fact, those guys on that NFL show this morning were saying Brady was literally laughing that this is the only job you could get. Sort of paraphrasing what Tom Brady might be thinking. Late night Smitty writes in from Steinbach, Manitoba. He says, the Belichick signing is amazing. Former quarterback Brad Johnson's kids play there. Speaking of kids, somebody please correct me if I'm wrong or zero me in on this. I heard that Belichick kid, he coached with the Washington Huskies last year, and that Bill's taken him to North Carolina. Now, this is I have a bit of a problem with this. Belichick's dad was a coach, so maybe it's in the lineage, but one thing that I heard in the coverage this morning is that Bill's trying to set up his kid. I don't even know who that is. To quote Roy Shivers, I don't know who that is. Because I can tell you that my dad worked in sports too. He never set me up. Maybe if I wanted to scout like my dad did, he might have set me up, but he didn't. He was like, literally, you're on your own, figure it out. And I'm kind of glad. I didn't like, it reminds me a little bit about, you would know this as the U of S guy, maybe, but Mike Babcock, when he took the Huskies job at the University of Saskatchewan, wanted to set up his kid, who I think his name is Michael Babcock. I'm not saying it's right or wrong at all. I didn't come from that road. And where's Michael Babcock? Is he still with the U of S Huskies, or do you know anything about that story? I don't like when guys try to set their kids up because it puts them ahead of the queue of everybody else that's trying to make a living in the damn perilous trade. Do you know about the Babcock thing?
Yeah, no, and how everything plays out is so complex all the time, and you like to have a succession plan that's great, but the best laid plans don't always work that way, and sometimes you handcuff the program. If Bill starts to get the program going, and there's a lot of things that are part of this, but he gets the program going, he gets the NIL money coming in, he gets the backers, he reinvigorates the alumni, does all these things. And the school isn't really that excited about the kid. When he wants to hand it off, you're kind of handcuffing them, because if you don't hire the kid or promote the kid to head coach, then where happens with all this support and everything that Bill's done, right? Is he going to be a supporter of the program? And the other thing to think about this, everybody's scoffing at it. There's a path here for UNC. Like, Drake May was there, a lot of great alumni, and the team's actually decent. They could be a playoff team before long. They're in the ACC. It's not the SEC or the Big Ten. There's a path here for Bill to put his mark on this and get that team into the college football playoff in the next few years.
Well, so that's the poll question today for EMJ Marketing. They will provide the perfect keynote speaker for your event. Will Bill Belichick be successful at the University of North Carolina? And by the way, what is the definition of successful? Because nobody expects them to challenge for a national championship at all. Darren said maybe within a couple of years they'll get to the college football playoff. Better chance now with 12 teams in it than 4 as recently as last year. And to be honest, I've heard some talk that they might expand it even more to 16. I don't know if you've heard that or not. Utah Darren writes in, he says, going from college to pro seems to be an easier transition than pro to college. He may be successful. I mean, again, I made one phone call, and I'm remiss that we're spending the whole opening segment on Bill Belichick going into the University of North Carolina. And by the way, who cares? It's our show. It's fun. I knew that we would dig into this, and I knew the viewers would be down with it too. But I made one call today, Darren, to a football guy that would know. When it comes to hockey things, I don't need to make those calls because I know. When it comes to football, I just want to make sure that I'm got it buttoned down. And I said, what do you think, Bob? I'll just tell you his name is Bob. He's probably watching right now. He gets Game Plus on his cable. He's old. And he knows that he's old. And I said, what did you think about this, Bob? And he goes, terrible hire. And I said, for who? He goes, for North Carolina. He goes, and this is why they've been crappy forever. He goes, these schools go out and they want to get a name. Who? You want to hire Bill Belichick because he's a name and his dad goes there. It's not what's best for the school, and this is why the school's been junk since 1980. That's from Bob. Okay. Glenn Erickson, thank you for the information. This is why I said, want to zero in on this. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in and he says, Michael Babcock, St. Louis Blues, skills coach. Thank you, Glenn. Seems to be doing okay. Okay. I think I knew that, but I forgot. But he was at the U of S with his dad, was he not, Darren? I'm pretty sure that he was.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, okay. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says Belichick has been a pro coach his entire life. Doesn't mean he won't be successful. And listen, I'm going to separate my shoulder by patting myself on the back here. But breaking news. Guess who was named the broadcaster of the year in the Western Canadian Baseball League at the winter meetings this weekend? This guy, me. I've never done baseball before. To be honest, I thought I had a crappy year. But I thank the voters and the teams and whoever voted. I don't know. I'd like to thank the Academy. Just because he's never done it before doesn't mean he can't be successful. So, and that's not throwing it in Jeff the Stamps fan's face, but I'm not as familiar with the college game, i.e. how much coaching they do. People say they just ride around on golf carts, the head coach. Kiss the butt of the alumni that shows up at practice every day and the boosters, and it's the coordinators that actually do the coaching. I don't know. Never been to a practice in college football. I haven't. Do you think the fact that he's never coached it before will preclude him from success at North Carolina?
No, I don't, and I think he's going to have success. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, probably closer to 5 years, but 3 to 5 years, they're going to be challenging for an ACC championship. I think they're going to be in the conversation to be in the ACC title game. Do I think they're going to be national championship contenders? I don't know. I just don't know. But no, I think he has an opportunity because the college game and the pro game aren't as different now as they were 3 years ago. You know, with the portal and the money and all of the things, now they're bringing in general managers into college football. It's becoming more like pro football every single day. The gap is shrinking. Now, you still have to relate to the young player, and you still have to, now you have to treat them well because they can just leave. They're not under contract. That's one thing Bill's going to have to understand is that it's not, it can't always be Bill's way or the highway because a player will leave if they're upset. They can just leave. They can enter the portal and they can go. So he's going to have to make sure it's an environment that people want to be in, while at the same time building those disciplines that are going to teach those players to be successful as pros.
Yeah. Okay, so Jeff the Stamps fan and John Ohm say congratulations on that, Rod. Thanks, guys. To be honest, I'm quite excited about that. It's a nice way to end 2024, winning top play-by-play broadcaster in the WCBL. So I just think if you think that Belichick has never done this before and he's not going to be successful, that would be egregious, erroneous, premature, whatever you want to say. Can Bill Belichick relate to young people? How old's his girl? I mean, is he not dating a girl in her 20s? Is it? He can clearly relate to young people. Which, by the way, when it comes to relating to young people, it ain't that hard. Because I do coach mental health and addiction recovery. All you got to do is examine other perspectives. I know that's hard for some people. It's not that hard for the rest of us. And find out what is the right button to push. That's fun. That's the fun part of coaching. I think he can do that. So I'm voting yes for Bill Belichick having success in North Carolina. We'll get to all of our other topics coming up. And our guests today include Edmonton quarterback Trey Ford and Mike Richards, the iconic Canadian broadcast. We'll be coming right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage. Check it out today and join us on SJHL Weekly and SJHL Insider.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Hey, honey, can you get one of the kids to show me how this Twitter thing works? Honey, I need to get on Instagram. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hour one is for Culligan Water. Drink clean, live green. Filter your water for a healthier tomorrow. Culligan Water of Regina. Visit CulliganRegina.com. Please bring in the Moose. We'll get to the rest of the topics in a second. Trey Ford coming up. I said I'll talk CFL all winter if the CFL is going to put their people on. Edmonton quarterback Trey Ford coming up. And I think the Moose is there in Toronto. And Mike Richards coming up in hour two. Taylor in Calgary right then. And he says, hey, Rod, what's your top five CFL players of all time? I'll allow it. I'll say it. Hockey's my passion. Football's my business. So you guys can all debate this amongst yourself. Your top five my top five all time. Doug Flutie, Leroy Simon, George Reed, Grover Covington, Les Brown. Boom. I won't ask you, Darren. You can percolate it on it for a while. Noni in Calgary writes in, and she says, hey, Rod. She writes in on the 902 line, you did a great job announcing the Moose Jaw Miller Express games this summer, and I hope you come back to the league again if the opportunity is there. And if you want to, have a great day. Thank you, Noni. Looks like I'll be back in Moose Jaw this summer, and I'm looking forward to it. I love the time there so much. To the NHL leftovers. Drake Batherson became the seventh NHL player to score a natural hat trick this season in the Ottawa Senators 5-1 romp over the visiting Anaheim Ducks. Batherson scored the Sens' second, third, and fourth goals of the game. His first was the 100th of his career. in the only other game on the schedule, Adam Fox had a goal and 2 assists as the Rangers beat Buffalo 3-2. It was the last segment of the show yesterday, Darren, where I realized it dawned on me. We didn't play breakaway bet, but it was only 2 games. And I can tell you, I would have picked the Sabres to beat the Rangers in the Battle of the Empire State. I would have been wrong on that. But just a 2-game slate, I'm far more excited about tonight. How about you?
Oh, yeah. 14 games. It's going to be fantastic. And it's going to make for a fun breakaway bet segment to go through all those games. And yeah, you want hockey tonight? You got it.
I was thinking about the discussion you and I had the other day when I said, is the race on now? And you said it feels like it. I'm like, does it ever feel like it? The one thing that was fun about getting back into the play-by-play and being around the teams this summer was that the fans and the media looked at it so differently than the coaches and the players. If they knew you might change your viewing habits, you might not. The coaches I was around in hockey didn't even really look at the standings till the new year. Maybe they looked at the paper on the front of the bus, the newspaper, just to see, but it didn't affect them because they were so busy tinkering with their own game and trying to fix themselves. They didn't even think about it till the new year. Yet everybody is so hung up on it. It's unbelievable. Or the Toronto media talking about who the coach of the year should be. Hang on. Speaking of Toronto, the Raptors seek to end a 3-game slide with a visit to the Miami Heat tonight. Toronto's all-star forward Scotty Barnes is not going to play. Raps confirmed he sprained his right ankle earlier this week in a game against the New York Knicks. Team says the injury will be evaluated again next week. I almost went to the game tonight. The whole arena, Casilla Center, is available on the secondary market for tickets, Darren, as low as $10. And I considered $10. Who would have thought you could go watch an NBA game for $10? But that's a fact. But it's a pain in the ass. And I had things planned this afternoon that have since fallen through. It's a pain. It's only 40 miles, but it's like the Toronto 40 miles. 40 miles to you? Where you live? What is it, like 37 miles from Toronto to Hamilton, I think? And it could take you, maybe even less. It'd take you 2 hours to get there, right? Depending on the day. It's less?
It
I
has.
think it's
During the Grey Cup, it did. It took me almost 2 hours to get to Hamilton. And when there's no traffic in the middle of the night coming back from a game, I'm home in 35 minutes.
I remember once coming out of Hamilton and seeing a sign that said, Mississauga, 57K, basically Toronto. And I'm like, that's the exact distance from Milestone to Regina, my hometown to my other hometown. Big difference in the in the scenery and the traffic. So anyways, to go down to Miami, Serena won't let me take her car down there because the drivers are insane. And so I don't like to take the Jeep. That thing's built for being cool, not long distances, which is a long distance here. It could take you 2 hours. So I was going to take the train, and she's like, have fun with that. It was $27 there, and I think $37 back, but the late one didn't get home till midnight. I'm like, screw it. I mean, I got a meeting of my club tonight anyways. I'm going to go out for supper with some buddies. So I won't be catching the Raptors is my long story on that. Maybe if they come back, but they suck. Point 4, selection camp continues in Ottawa for the Canadian junior men's hockey team. The host team opens the 2025 World Jays on Boxing Day against Finland in Ottawa. 6 players are back from the squad that lost out in the quarterfinals of the 2024 tournament in Sweden. I can tell you there is zero talk about that here, even amongst the hockey community. So let me ask you, are people getting geeked up for the World Juniors? I mean, more than normal. I mean, you always do. We'll be watching it in our house. But no Bedard, no Celebrini. What's the excitement level up there, Moose?
Building. It's building in the selection camp. Hasn't been as much talk of it as there has been in previous years. But there are a lot of great players. And once we start to learn a little bit more about who's going to be really the workhorses for Canada, I think that's when the excitement will pick up. Not quite yet, but it's building day by day.
Laverne in Swift Current writes in. Thank you, Laverne. Says, so now the Bill Belichick, there's something This text line's going wonky. It's not the line's fault. It's my device's problem. Laverne says, you're close to 1,400 shows. Congratulations. And he says, so now that Bill Belichick is in North Carolina as head coach, is he the general manager and responsible for recruiting as well? Thought? You covered that earlier, but can you cover that again, Moose?
Yeah, he'll play a role for sure, but he's brought in Michael Lombardi as a general manager. So he's got somebody in that role as teams are starting to do more and more.
Lombardi's the general manager going with him. And what's interesting about all of that is I will not pretend to say I know how the football business has changed over the last 20 to 30 years. I can tell you intimately how the media business has changed because that's what I do. I haven't seen the football from the guts of it. It's just quite interesting that Nick Saban, who is, 4 or 5 years younger than Belichick, if not more, he's like, I'm out. I don't want any part of this. Whereas Belichick, again, I don't believe needs the money. Wants to get involved in it. And, somebody wrote into our website today at rodpeterson.com and said, it's not like it used to be Belichick sitting in the living room with the family. It's not like that anymore. I don't know what it's like. I need to get out and spend a little time with my football people here. I got a lot of, high school friends, college friends, the Bucks kids, both playing NCAA or college football. I don't know how the recruiting's changed. I don't know. They talk about the NIL. This is also new to everybody. It was not immediately known on the Dan Patrick show this morning what the NIL, let's just say payroll, was for the Tar Heels last year. Everybody knows Ohio State's is $25 million. Randy Ambrosi talked about that on this show. $25 million for a college football team, ladies and gentlemen. That's their payroll. Curtis Rourke, the quarterback in Indiana, Canadian kid, $1.1 million US he's making playing for the Indiana Hoosiers. Nobody could find what North Carolina has. Would you not think, Darren, that would be documented somewhere? It tells me they're not paying a lot.
Yeah, I mean, not every school you're going to find all the numbers, but you're right. The more that these deals are public, you start piecing it together. Oh, that guy's making this and this guy's that. You start to see what their payroll is. And we say payroll. It's not technically a payroll, but it might as well be called that. But this is only going to go up. And when you talk about an old coach, it's high profile. That's the big thing. So for North Carolina, if you want to play in the big world, and jump into that world of the big brands in football, they got a big basketball brand there. But if you want a big football brand, you have to have a high profile coach. You have to have a high profile recruiting class. And Bill kind of opens the door to that, I think.
Say it again. I won't pretend to know how it's changed from the living room, the show me the money, what we all kind of grew up with and knew what it was for college football recruiting. I'm sure I think they waved the NIL money in front of them, even though the stuffed colored shirt, even here in the States, said, Rod, NIL money is not to be used for recruiting. Do you actually believe that, or are you trying to fool them? Okay? Because it is. I am in the high schools here. I know how it works, guys. So either you're an idiot if you don't think it is being used for recruiting, who's going to pay the most, or you're trying to lie to me. Either way, I don't have time for you. The gentleman in Calgary, Taylor, asked who my top 5 CFLers were of all time, and I said off the top of my head, Doug Flutie, Geroy Simon, George Reed, Grover Covington, Les Brown. Rich in Edmonton says, no Warren Moon. I said what I said. I was on the sidelines watching Doug Flutie. I have a tough time believing Warren Moon could have been better than that. He probably was, but I wasn't watching Warren Moon at that age and not that closely. Everybody says Warren Moon, but the people that know Flutie and were closer say Flutie. I'm going to say Flutie because I saw it with my own eye. Bomber Boy in Calgary writes in. He says, hey, Rod, how about the Buffalo Sabres GM complaining about not attracting free agents with their taxes and lack of palm trees? I was playing the smallest violin for him. It's an excuse. So, because down here in Florida for years, they couldn't get players down here either, believe it or not, because the teams weren't good. That's what it is. There's probably a long list of reasons why people don't want to go to Buffalo. Those are just a couple of them. Thoughts on the Thursday Nighter, Moose? Do you have any? What do we have here? At this point, the past 2 seasons, the 49ers, yeah, I'm wearing my 49ers shirt, were fighting for playoff positioning at this time of year. After snapping a 3-game losing streak with a lopsided win last week against the Bears, the Niners head in at tonight's home game against the Rams, hoping to play with the kind of desperation in this game like they had the last couple. Niners favored by 3 over the Rams, who just beat Buffalo. Deal or no deal by you?
I'm going to say no deal, just because I like the Rams and I really like Sean McVay, but injuries are piling up for them too a little bit. And the 49ers looked pretty good looked better last week. The game, I believe, is in San Fran, so you got the home crowd. They always draw well, even when the game's in LA. The San Fran seems to outdraw the Rams in their own building. So that's a factor in this game too. The head-to-head, they always seem to play well against LA. But I like the Rams in this one tonight. I really do.
Should be a doozy. It's funny, at Super Bowl last year, Kansas City versus San Fran, I was there and I thought, oh my God, the Taylor Swift factor, this is going to be all Chiefs fans. And I show up to Mandalay Bay. I wish you were with me, Moose. It was so much fun. These 49ers fans were flipping everywhere. Yeah. As far as the eye could see, I almost made me wonder if the Chiefs fans were even going to show up. Oh, and they did. I'll see you in hour 2.
You bet.
Edmonton quarterback Trey Ford joins us next from the city of Campion. We'll be right back here on Game Plus Television, streaming live, and, of course, podcast wherever the best podcasts are.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage. Check it out today and join us on SJHL Weekly and SJHL Insider.
Skate into the holiday season with the Stars. Stars on Ice 2024 Holiday Tour with figure skating icon Elvis Stoico, Olympic medalist Caitlin Osmond, Caitlin Weaver and Andrew Poche, Keegan Messing, Satoko Miyahara, and more. Stars on Ice, coming to Moose Jaw Event Center December 20th. Unwrap your tickets at starsonice.ca.
Hi, my name is Logan Stankoven.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our daily polls brought to you by EMJ Marketing. Transform your audience with powerful presentations from EMJ Marketing's elite speakers. Check out their website for more information at emjmarketing.com. And today's poll is, do you think Bill Belichick will have success taking over the University of North Carolina? The majority of you, 60% plus, saying yes, he will. Trey Ford joins us, the 26-year-old quarterback of the Edmonton Elks, and he's a football fan. Trey, what do you think with the biggest news of the day, of the week, Bill Belichick taking over the Tar Heels? How do you think he's going to do there?
I think he's going to do well, right? I mean, he's a phenomenal coach, right? He's been coaching for so many years. You know, he's experienced at what he's doing. Obviously, you know, he had Tom Brady, which definitely helped. But, you know, I think he's definitely going to be able to have an impact right away.
Everybody's got an opinion. I just wanted to get yours from a guy that's been on the field. Congratulations on the new deal, Trey, and it's an honor to have you on the show. I've never had you on before. Can you take me through just the past couple of weeks from a huge change in the front office and coaching staff to getting a new deal? We saw it from the outside. What was it like from the inside?
It was interesting, right? Because, you know, the season ended and I didn't want to come back to Edmonton. You know, I thought my time here was up, and then I had a good conversation with Chris Morris, and then obviously Ed and Mark, and all the conversations were good. They were saying things that I liked. And so from there, it was just really trying to decide on a deal. So I went back and forth with my agent, and we were able to come to something that we both agreed to. So I'm happy to be here for another 3 years now.
How about the reaction, by the way? You knew the fans loved you. They were chanting your name in games, even when you guys were losing. Even if you weren't on the field, they wanted you on the field. But this outpouring since you signed has been pretty staggering, man. It's pretty clear how they feel about you in Edmonton. How's that feel?
It's good to know that I do have the fan support, right? You know, they supported me through my 3 years here, whether, like you said, I was playing or not. You know, they wanted me on the field. You could hear that at the games, right? The fans would start chanting and everything, which I thought, you know, was cool for me. Obviously, the aspect that they wanted me to go in. Obviously, I felt bad for whoever else was at quarterback because, you know, you're out there trying to do your best and win games. So tough for them, but I do appreciate all the fan support I've had over the last 3 years.
I'll tell you what, I mentioned at 26, you're a Heck Crichton Award winner. You've had 3 years in this league, and you were a first-round pick. You've been through so much for your age. Do you feel older than 26? I would think those years in Edmonton probably aged you a little bit. How you feeling now?
Yeah, I feel old in general all the time. You know, I got to start working more on my mobility because my body's getting a little bit sore. But, you know, I think it's also the impact of, you know, having a daughter already. You know, at 26, I got another one on the way. So, you know, dad duties are definitely having an impact. And I also do house renovations. So, you know, those are taking a little bit of a toll on the body too. But nothing bad at all. Just getting old.
Stay away from the power tools. Just do me a favor and stay away from the power tools. John in Edmonton writes in, here come all the Elks fans. He says, question for you, Trey, as an Elks season ticket holder, what are your expectations for next season? I assume he means as the team.
Yeah, I mean, well, I expect our team to be better than what we were this year, right? So if you set the bar at 7-11, which we were, I think we're going to be better than that. And I think we're going to be a lot better than that, right? I'm hoping to at least flip that and be 7-11, right? Or sorry, 11-7, sorry. And having an opportunity to go to the playoffs and always compete in the playoffs and then compete in the Grey Cup. And I think our team has done a phenomenal job of, you know, executing and having good offense and good defense at certain times throughout the year. but we have to do it consistently throughout the entire year to be in that situation. And I think with the 3 guys we have hired so far, I think they're gonna do everything right and do it the proper way, and I think that's gonna help us have success.
John, another John in Winnipeg says, Trey, congrats on your new contract. Who did you look up to growing up? Who was your favorite player?
Yeah, so I had a couple. Obviously, I was a big fan of Michael Vick growing up because mobile quarterback, kind of had a similar style of play, right? And then when I got a little bit older, I was a big Russell Wilson fan when he was in Seattle. Obviously, a little bit less when he was with the Broncos, but I think he's doing a phenomenal job again this year with the Steelers. So it's been up and down, and then I'm able to appreciate a lot of players now. Being a professional quarterback myself, like whether I'm watching Jaden Daniels, Joe Burrow, Pat Mahomes, right? You're able to respect everybody's game and kind of try to learn a little bit from everybody.
Another question from viewer John says, when you play your brother, who do your parents cheer for? Do you get that all the time? You're laughing already. Did you know that one was coming? Who does your family cheer for?
My dad's kind of 50-50. He doesn't like to pick, so what he does is whoever has the home game, he's cheering for. So whether we're in Winnipeg or in Edmonton, that kind of decides who he's cheering for. And I'm like, yeah, that's a pretty good idea, right? That way he keeps it even, keeps it fair.
BW in Edmonton writes in, I hope you don't mind me just lobbing these questions at you from the viewers.
No, that's fine.
I think you can handle it. You're a smart guy. BW says, Trey, are you bugging your brother yet to join you with the Elks? We're not suggesting tampering here, but would you like to play with him in the CFL?
Well, obviously to get the chance to play with my brother would be phenomenal. But he's got a lot of stuff on his plate right now with NFL workouts, and he's pretty busy. I know he's got, I think, 2 or 3 coming up next week. So he's really focused on that leading up to, January, probably mid-January. He'll probably have a couple more workouts. So he's really locked in on the opportunity to try to go back to the NFL. If it doesn't work out, and then he is coming back to the CFL, I know he loves Winnipeg. He loves it there, obviously. I tell him Edmonton's not a terrible spot to be either. But, he's going to have to make that decision. But right now he's focused 100% on the NFL.
It's interesting you say that about Edmonton. Well, they're all great markets in the CFL, but I noticed this when you guys started to put some wins together after the coaching change, and that place was starting to fill up. I'm like, literally, all it's going to take is to win, and that place is going to be jammed again. Like, you don't got to do a lot of marketing. You don't got to do a lot of stuff. Do you sense that, too? It's such a great CFL town. They want to come back and support the team so bad, I think is what I'm thinking.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, we definitely have a lot of fans, right? And it's been a bad, 4 or 5 years. Like, we haven't really done too much. But we do have those little bit of spurts, and the seats do fill up, right? We do get fans. And I think, obviously, we can help ourselves by winning to get fans in the stands, but I also think we can do a lot more stuff in the community, just outreaching and, going and getting more involved in the community, which is going to bring even more fans, right? I know everybody's goal is, they want to fill the whole stadium, which is a lot of people, so we got a long way to go. But winning and getting out in the community will definitely do it.
You seem like a guy to me that would like that, to be out dealing with the fans and the kids and everything around Edmonton and Northern Alberta for that matter. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, 100%. I'm moving here full time in January. So I'm just doing the holidays in Ontario with my family. Then I'm going to be moving back up here and trying to get involved in the community and stuff in the off season, and obviously getting a little bit of a head start on the playbook and try to get it rolling.
I think we're all pulling for the Elks. I can say that now. I worked for Saskatchewan for 20 years, but I'm just a CFL fan. And listen, Killam's a great guy. Hervey's a great guy. Chris Morris is a great guy. How can you not be excited about that? But I got to ask you, lastly, do you get tired of being asked about the past? If you noticed, I haven't brought it up the last 3 years, other than it's aged you. Does it get, you probably don't want to talk about it because it doesn't matter anymore, really.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it doesn't really bug me. People like to, ask about it, and I try to give them, the best answers that I can. Obviously, I'm not trying to take shots at anybody or anything like that, but I do want people, when they do ask, to try to understand, what the 3 years was like. I try to give them, the best answer that I can, and that's all I can do.
You handled it with the utmost of class, Trey. There's no doubt about that. So I'm glad that it's all worked out. I'm glad you're excited for the future, and enjoy Christmas with the little one. Good luck with the next one, and hopefully we can do this in the new year.
Yeah, for sure. Perfect. Thank you.
Edmonton Elks quarterback Trey Ford, and I want to thank the football team for putting him on and the positive wave that's coming across Northern Alberta and really across the CFL. It's nice to see after the hell they've been through. Yeah. We'll be right back with a sports update, and I hope a pretty cool photo, too, that's been elicited. You're going to want to see this. We'll be right back on Game Plus TV, live streaming, and, of course, podcasts, wherever the best podcasts are found.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
I'm Bridget Lacquette. I'm a First Nation Olympic silver medalist, and I'm proud to represent Indigenous hockey players across Canada. Each year, hundreds of Canadians need a stem cell transplant from an unrelated donor to save their life. Anyone can have a hard time finding a stem cell match, but for Indigenous peoples, it can be even more difficult because just over 1% of prospective donors on Canada's stem cell registry are of Indigenous backgrounds. Be a hero. Join me in Hockey Gives Blood in helping to make a life-saving difference to those in need. Register today at blood.ca/beahero.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
Canada's premier Junior A Hockey League deserves premier coverage. Check it out today and join us on SJHL Weekly and SJHL Insider.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Did you know you can catch all the best moments from the show on all our social media platforms? Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Big thank you again to the Edmonton Elks. I'm not even going to call them the Elkamos anymore because I just have so much respect for what they're doing up there. They're not a joke. But are they going to change the name back, or at least to Esks? If you're going to do it, please do it soon, because Elks is growing on me. By the way, I said to Clark, we have a photo. I said to you, there's a photo you're going to want to see. Mark Gundry is the guy whose company, Whole Life, produces these shirts that I wear, the Florida clothing brand, Whole Life. That's Mark in the middle with Doug Flutie on the left. Okay, there's Flutie. I said he's the greatest quarterback in the CFL history, and I believe it. I do. Sorry if people don't agree. Mark in the middle in the green shirt, Doug Flutie on the left. I don't know who the guy is on the right. But Mark's watching the show, as he always does. I wear his gear pretty much all the time, or at least for special occasions, like at Super Bowl, right, Mark? Or when the 49ers are playing. He outfits me, and I wanted to give the guy his kudos, and he's met everybody and done some great things in football. So there's Flutie. And Mark said that he lives in Vero Beach, which is about an hour and a half up the highway, maybe an hour. Maybe one day we can get Flutie in the studio. That would be cool. Thanks, Clark. I appreciate that. And thank you, Mark, for all you do. Especially, thanks for watching. Laverne. Hey, Laverne. Laverne's watching in Swift Current. Laverne, where's Shirley? He says, I have one NFL question. Each team has a franchise tag for a player. I read somewhere that Sam Darnold, who might be a franchise tag in Minnesota next year, what does that exactly mean? Oh, man, we don't have time. But number one, Sam Darnold, I think, is on a one-year contract. Can Vikings fans help me with that? So I don't think that's going to happen there. Number two, if they franchise tag you, they take the top 3 players' salaries at your position, and you get an average of that for 1 year. That's your salary. The average of the top 3 salaries in the league in your position. And Sam Darnold, I don't think he's under contract next year. That's another headache for the Vikings. If that's not exactly what it is, that's similar to what it is. But I don't think he qualifies. Sports update, the Edmonton Oilers shoot for their 4th straight win as they visit the Minnesota Wild tonight. The Wild lead the NHL with 42 points. Also tonight, Toronto is home to Anaheim. Montreal welcomes Pittsburgh. Vegas is at Winnipeg. Calgary hosts Tampa Bay. And the Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers visit Vancouver. Look at a map. That's a long-ass distance between the Florida Panthers and the Vancouver Canucks. Should be a hell of a game tonight, though. I'm a little jealous. Wouldn't mind seeing that one live. Moose and I will be playing breakaway bets next hour. The Toronto Raptors will be without all-star forward Scotty Barnes when they visit the Miami Heat tonight. Barnes is out indefinitely with a sprained ankle. Raps have lost 3 straight and sit second last in the NBA's Eastern Conference. You can go to the game tonight here in Miami for just $10. Can you believe it? The sports update is for Landmark Cinemas. In Landmark Cinemas now, Red One. Here's the plot. After Santa Claus, codenamed Red One, is kidnapped, the North Pole's head of security, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, must team up with the world's most infamous bounty hunter, Chris Evans, in a globe-trotting, action-packed mission to save Christmas. Does that sound like something you might be interested in? Red One, now playing at Landmark Cinemas. Next hour, Raw Mike Richards will be with us talking about his new show on City Television Calgary, The Great Mike Richards, and whatever various sports topics come up. Everybody seems to like when the two of us get together. And the usual sports update and a lot of viewer takeover. The Moose returns after this brief pause here on Game Plus Television.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
IKS Game Day wishes to congratulate the City of Estevan and Affinity Place on their brand new center ice display. This state-of-the-art score clock features 5 LED faces with full motion graphics, scoring integration, and our new Halo mounting system. If it's time for an upgrade, let us show you how to deliver the best fan experience. You can find us at iksgameday.com.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This former producer of major market television shows writing into us anonymously to say he just found our show on Game Plus Television. Here's some tips. The show has ADD. It's all over the place. Your sound effects are annoying. And your host is arrogant. Right on all counts. But that's what we want. That's what we wanted it to be.
This is the Rod Pedersen Show.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the RP Show. Settle in, get comfortable. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the 1,397th episode of Canada's favorite daytime sports talk show on national television. Oh, and Canada's only daytime live talk show on television. But that's between us. You guys let me know when the Moose is with us, if you don't mind. We've been having a great time today covering the sports topics. There he is. Hey, Moose. Good to see you, Moose.
Yeah.
Guys, can you hit the quick six show horn and we'll re-up what we've been talking about?
Done deal.
For the latecomers, here's the reset of what we've been talking about today. These were the quick six show topics. Number one, Bill Belichick being introduced this afternoon as the head coach at the University of North Carolina football program, the Tar Heel. The alma mater of Darian Durant, our good friend, Bill Belichick is taking over a college football team for the first time in his life. He's going to coach college football. Our second point was NHL leftovers from last night, but there were only 2 games. Coming up, we're going to play breakaway bet for tonight's games. Point 3, the Raptors are here in Miami tonight. You could go to the game for $10. I won't be. Point 4, a little bit of World Juniors talk. Point 5, Thursday night football tonight. San Fran at the LA Rams, 49ers. Sorry, other way around. Rams at 49ers. San Fran favored by 3. And then the point 6 is the NHL tonight. But the viewers were really sinking their teeth, Darren, into the Belichick thing. After what I said at hour 1 and the viewers, have any of your thoughts changed? I just find it really interesting that it really seems like what meets the eye is what meets the eye. Belichick couldn't get hired in the NFL, so he's going to try calling. And I think you think it's a springboard he's thinking to get back to the NFL. I don't. I think he just wants to try something new. Similar to me doing baseball last year in the Western Canadian Baseball League. This is new. This is fun. Let's try. I wanted a challenge. I think Belichick wants a challenge. I don't think he wants back in the NFL. I don't. But that's fine that we don't necessarily agree. But you don't sense any skullduggery in this, do you?
No, like I don't think that he's necessarily using this as a springboard to the NFL. I think that this could be a springboard to the NFL, but I think he wants to coach. I think he wants to coach. He wants to prove that he can still coach and he can have an impact and he can have success and build something. If it turns into the NFL, I'm sure that's what he would eventually want. But I don't think he's sitting here thinking, okay, I'm going down here. I signed a 5-year deal, but after 2 or 3 years, the first NFL offer, I'm out of here. That may be the case, but I think he's going down to try and continue to build his legacy.
Here's a little tip for those that don't know. And those that already know this tip will be sitting there nodding their head, watching the television or listening to the podcast right now. The most successful guys and gals that I know in sports aren't thinking about their career 2, 3, 4, 5 years ahead or even a decade ahead. It's what's right in front of you. That's why I wear this bracelet one day at a time. That's how you have success, breaking it all down. I don't think they're looking too far down the line. I don't think Belichick is. And the whole thing about him being blackballed in the NFL is kind of hard to believe given all that he's done. 6 Super Bowls and probably all the connections that he has. People say that he's a good guy behind the scenes and away from the podium. But Darren, can you be blackballed and still be a good guy? Like, that doesn't really seem to fit, does it? That nobody would hire him in the NFL, yet he's a good guy? That doesn't seem to go together.
No, it doesn't. And, that's why, I find it hard to believe. And I don't think personally, again, not knowing people at that level intimately, I don't think he's blackballed in the NFL, even though he won't get hired. I think it's more that teams are nervous about Bill, about the control, about, what that's going to do to the program. They're nervous about bringing somebody in. And they all sit there and be like, I'd like to see what he does somewhere else first. I want to see what he would do. And I think everybody in the NFL is going to be paying attention and saying, how's he going to do at UNC? How's he going to do relating to the younger player and navigating NIL and working with Michael Lombardi as a GM? Let's see how that works out. And if that all goes well, I think teams will jump at the chance to hire Bill. But I think they're just kind of wanting to see how it'll play out.
Well, it's semantics, which is another word for splitting hairs. So maybe he's not blackballed, but you just explained why nobody will hire him. For all those reasons that I think you're right. All right? His reputation precedes him. We're spending more time on Belichick than I would have planned or had budgeted for, but I don't care because it's the biggest topic of the week, the month, may end up being of the year. But when you say they're watching him, which I believe they are, he's spending this year in media until today because he's going to hit the ground running and work 20 hours a day at UNC. That's his thing. But what has he done in the media? He's taken shots at the Jets. He's taken shots at the Patriots, including Gerard Mayo, his replacement. So he's still a bit of a snide bastard. And again, those of us that have been fired, hard not to do these things. But now he's looking forward, not back. And we'll see where it goes. Paul in Humboldt writes, and he says, RP, which former coach turned broadcaster told you that he would take a coaching job at the drop of a hat? Was it Dunnigan or LaPolice? I was very clearly Dunnigan because LaPolice said he won't take a coaching job. But he's doing what Lapo really seems to be loving the broadcasting thing and what he's doing there. Dunnigan said that he would have gone back coaching, but that was years ago. I don't know if he still would or not. BW says, hashtag squirrel moment. RP, how much is a 12-pack of Diet Coke in your neighborhood of Florida? I don't know, bro. It's like gasoline. I got to have it. So I don't look at the till. You know what I mean? I jam the hose in the vehicle, fill up, give them the credit card. Same thing with a Diet Coke. It's the gas in my engine. I don't know what it is. Who cares? Am I going to not have it because it's too expensive? No. Brent in Wellington, Florida writes, and he says, when Arthur Blank passes on him, who is desperate for a coach, something's bad. Well, that's the rabbit hole that I don't want to go down today because we covered that at the time with Belichick not getting hired. It's brutal. I think Arthur Blank was going to hire him. The story was in Atlanta that it was progressing, and all the guys that were already in the Falcons organization convinced Arthur Blank not to hire him because they all knew what would happen if Bill Belichick got hired. They're out. And that happens, just so you know. So that's another story for another time. But thank you, Brent, for pulling that up. And Merry Christmas, Brent, to you and yours. We'll be seeing you Christmas Day. I think that's on the agenda. Okay, enough about Bill. Did you like my joke last hour, Darren, about how he clearly can relate to younger people because his girlfriend's in her 20s? That's kind of funny, right? That was good.
It was half a joke, and it kind of half felt like a shot at Bill. It was funny. I liked it. It was almost like you could have been up there on the roast of Bill Belichick.
Hey, literally, date whoever the hell you want. I don't care. It was a joke. It was there. It was a 6-inch shot. Can he relate to young people? Well, he's dating a 25-year-old, so you tell me. That's some funny shit. Come on, I just came up with that. By the way, Darren, you got to get Paramount Plus. You have to get it.
I know.
I'm obsessed with Landman. I'm obsessed. I'm obsessed with Billy Bob Thornton. I'm obsessed with Ali Larder. I'm obsessed with the whole thing. How much could it reasonably cost to get Paramount Plus?
I don't know. We're going to look into it because I miss that. I'm missing Tulsa King. I'm missing Mayor of Kingstown. There's a lot on Paramount Plus that I'm missing, man. And I've started some of those. I got to get back on it.
Every single one of them written by Taylor Sheridan, by the way. And he stars in Yellowstone. But here's the thing. Billy Bob Thornton, dude. It's not about age. That's the thing with Belichick. The older I get, and I'll be hitting a birthday that next week, as I said to my sponsor, Bob, I said, I am now of the age that I used to think was ancient. So there's that. And it's a gift to be, but I get it now. I get the Don Matthews and I get those guys of that. It's not about age. They got something. They got the light. They got the vibe. You know what I mean? Belichick clearly has the vibe. It's a vibe. They got it. I get it. Oh, and in Landman, the reason I bring it up is Billy Bob Thornton's that oil man, and he's like moving in on this lawyer who comes to take care of this land deal in the oil field, and she's 30 years younger than him. And everybody's like, there's no way that they're going to end up together. Well, Billy Bob Thornton's got the vibe. You wait. I can't wait to see the next one. Jay writes in, says, sure, age is just a number, but now the NFL owner hiring a 75-year-old man to head coach in the NFL, it's over. Don't spoil the fun with logic, Jay. Of course nobody's going to hire him after this. But it would be, who saw him coming to UNC? How could we possibly say that he won't go back to the end? We can't. Who knows, dude? Who would have thought this, Darren?
I know. Crazy. It is. It's just nuts. We never would have thought that's what happened.
All the crazy stuff that's gone on in the CFL, the NHL, all the coaches that were fired this year, so far, 3 of them, nobody had them on any of the lists to be fired. It's insane. 1:11 Eastern, 11:11 Mountain. We're just pointing that out as we sit and talk about zany things. Oh, and Bruce Rogers writes in, he's watching in the Queen City, and he says, Lioness, if you haven't seen that one. No, that's next on our list. That came up in the, something you might like. So we're getting to it. We're kind of stuck on Gator Boys right now. I know a lot of you haven't watched Yes, I just burped into the mic. A lot of you haven't watched Gator Boys, but it's about 2 guys, reality TV. Their office is 40 miles from our house. I looked it up. And if you have a gator in your backyard or in your pool, you call them and they'll come get it. Or a snake, Darren. And that's the basis of the show. Can you imagine? So good. Gator Boys. Crazy. I love it. Here we go. Breakaway bets. And by the way, Mike Richards is coming up next segment. Last hour, we had Trey Ford, Edmonton Elks quarterback, and it was amazing. I'll just say it again. I'll talk CFL all winter if the CFL wants to keep putting their people on. I'm not going to talk about it for the sake of talking about it, but if they want to put people on, like Trey Ford and Mark Gillum and Buck Pierce and these guys, VA, I'm down. L.A. Kings and New Jersey Devils tonight, probably the game of the night. Who do you like, Moose?
I like LA tonight.
Okay, I'll take New Jersey, although I know LA's red hot. The Pittsburgh Penguins at the Montreal Canadiens. Who do you like?
Pittsburgh.
Yeah, me too, dude. The Anaheim Waterfowl at the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let me guess, you're taking Toronto.
I will.
Yeah, me too, actually. Washington Capitals at the Columbus Blue Jackets. Who you take?
I'll take Washington. They're all pretty straightforward so far.
Nah, I'm taking the Blue Jackets. They're going to be heard from yet still. The Detroit Red Wings at Philadelphia. What you thinking there?
Ooh. I will take Philly.
I will take Detroit. They got to figure it out at some point, don't they? Chicago at the New York Islander. I'll go first, and I'll take the Islanders. How about you?
Okay. I'll take Chicago.
Perfect. The Vegas Golden Knights at the Winnipeg Jets. Probably the game of the night. Shane Knighty returns. Who do you like?
I like Winnipeg.
That is the game of the night. I'll take Vegas just because, but I don't really believe it. Okay, Winnipeg? Nashville at Dallas. I think the Predators are officially the worst team in the NHL. I'll take Dallas. You?
×2.
Okay. The San Jose Sharks at the St. Louis Blues. Classic hockey rivalry.
Ooh. Sharks.
Blues. Ha! Perfect. Jinx. He says Shark. I say Blues. Edmonton at Minnesota.
That's a great game.
I'll take Minnesota.
Mini. Yeah, me too.
You too? Okay.
Yeah.
Utah at Colorado. Avs for me.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. New goalie's going to want to start off on the right skate. Tampa Bay at Calgary. I'll take the Flames.
Okay, I'll take Tampa tonight.
Okay. The Florida Panthers at the Vancouver Canucks.
Vancouver's not good at home. They're not good at home.
Okay.
Vancouver's way better on the road. I'll take Florida.
Okay. And the Boston Bruins at Seattle. I'll take the Bruins as they're eager to atone for the 8-1 thumping they suffered at the hands of the Jets the other night. So Boston for me.
I'll take Seattle.
Okay. You would. Palmer Boy writes in and says, Vegas, Rod? Say it ain't so. I said what I said. Okay. We're out of here, Moose. You have a great Toronto afternoon, okay?
Yeah, all right. Have a good day.
Brace yourselves, everybody. Mike Richards from Raw Mike Richards joins us next. This will be good. We're live on Game Plus Television, streaming live daily, and, of course, podcasts wherever the best podcasts are found.
The live sports experience is changing. Teams and facilities are under pressure to provide online and in-venue entertainment. IKS Live has the right team to deliver. We provide service across North America and produce the best fan experience, in the seats or streaming to you. IKS Live continues to bring you the best seat in the house.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033. 3033.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Send us your opinions now. We won't victimize you unless you really deserve it. Now, back to your host, Rod Pedersen.
Okay, here we go. I can't wait. Listen, can you please, guys? I should tell you, Hour 2 is brought to you by Culligan Water. Check him out at culliganregina.com. If you have a free hand, can you put Mike Richards' face on the screen? Because I want to see it as I read this. Bill Belichick is a college football coach. The man who navigated the Patriots to 6 Super Bowl titles has signed a 5-year deal to coach North Carolina. The 72-year-old's contract was approved by UNC trustees and governors this morning. Over to you, Mike Richards.
That's not what's surprising. What's surprising is he's dating one of the Olsen twins.
How about that?
I saw that that picture. I thought, what universe is this? I mean, I know there are certain daddy issues, but really, it's like you're dating Krampus. I don't know why you would do that. Well, money, I suppose that could be a thing, but
maybe they have a connection.
Oh, yeah. And it's called a checking account.
Bingo!
I'm not as surprised as maybe a lot of people are about this whole Belichick thing. And there's a couple of reasons. Number one, as you know, I love college ball. Grew up on it.
Yeah.
And as you talked about today, football is my passion. I love it to death. I like watching it. I like talking to the players. I like coaching it. There's everything about football that I just love. But the one reality of guys our age now is we just have to understand that the construct that we knew as college football, the mechanism that was the student athlete, has been completely decimated. It is over. And years ago, when talking to Brian Kelly, so at the time he had left University of Cincinnati to go to Notre Dame, and that was his dream job. He's a Catholic boy from Massachusetts. To go to Notre Dame was his dream. But maybe a bigger dream was that current 10-year, like $95 million contract he got with LSU. But when he had to leave back then, I'm saying this is probably, a good 7-8 years ago. I said, so the guys that you recruited, so at that time, yeah, you did go to their house. They don't do it as much now, but they did. There was a time where they did meet the parents, sit in the living room. So the biggest bowl game you had, and by the way, Zach Collaros would have been on that team. Zach Collaros would have been one of the quarterbacks. And so because of the portal and the way it was working, and you could see it coming, the moment of their biggest, their life's biggest moment to this point, this bowl game, coach is gone. Because at that point, that's when coaches have to make that decision. So they leave their kids, which to me is sickening, but it gets worse. And it's gotten worse. And now we're to the point where, and I'd said it years ago, basically what you have in college football, let's just not use the term student athlete anymore. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. The fact is that it's basically now with the power rankings and the way that the schools are now, with the changing of the conferences, you basically have more or less, and you're going to get to 2 power conferences, and you have the portal, which makes them free agents. So as you have general managers now and NIL and everything that goes with it, it simply means that, as I believe last year, at least 50% of the quarterbacks in NCAA football, 50% of them weren't the quarterbacks of that school the previous year. They had gone. So now you watch college football now, just like college basketball. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute. Wasn't he East Carolina? And then, I'm sorry, wasn't he Arizona? And this is what happens. And because of that, we are now talking about recruiting. Recruiting is the most important thing in everyone's world. And so you bring in a Bill Belichick, and I know people want to talk about, will he have a winning program? Will they vie for the ACC championship? Will they be a national champion? I don't know that, but I do know when Dad, there's old Pop sitting with his son that wants to go to a school, and he sees that Bill Belichick is now at UNC. I got news for you. Kids are going to go there. It's like John Calipari when he went from Memphis and he goes to Kentucky. You are now in a world where if you can create an opportunity for that kid, that 3-star athlete that's going to sign a national letter of intent, and he thinks that coach can get him into the pros, then it's all over, Rod, because that's really what we're talking about. Not even necessarily the kind of program. Is it going to be a defensive team? Is it going to be an offensive team? Is he bringing coordinators from different teams? Yeah, all that's going to happen. But all I know is the best athletes all of a sudden, because we're talking about North Carolina, football. I mean, they've got more press in the last 48 hours about their football team than they have in the last 4 decades. So that is the reason for the move. And for that reason, I am not surprised.
Which is also the last time they were in the ACC title game itself. Forget about winning it. 1980 was the last time they were even in the game. But let me just walk it back, because the terms I've heard this morning with regards to Bill Belichick going to North Carolina are intriguing, fascinating. You've used some of those. Shocking. They are all those things. But do you believe this narrative? He was shut out from the NFL. This was the only job he could get. A lot of people are saying that.
I probably wouldn't disagree with that, just because, when you talk to NFL insiders and you talk to those that have to deal with him, and look, when you win 6 Super Bowls, he kind of owns the sandbox, whether you like it or not. So if he wants to wear a weird hoodie with short sleeve, which was never a look, even in medieval times, they'd probably look at him and go, "What's with the getup?" He really, although your daughter seems nice. Oh, it's not his daughter. Remember, so to me, it's the kind of thing where, the shocking part of it, like what really shocks us anymore, Rod? I mean, you've been in this business for a long time. Like what is the
Not
element
much.
of, quite frankly, if you're going to give the guy a job, he doesn't just want to be the coach. I mean, he will be everything to that program. And some people say, well, what if a player doesn't like it? What if a young guy decides he doesn't want to be in the Bill Belichick world? Well, guess what? He'll run it like he did the Patriots. See ya. Oh, we just won a Super Bowl. I'd like a raise. You're not getting one. Bye. That's the way it's going to be, and they know this going in. But most NFL teams right now are like, geez, do we really want to go down that road with the kinds of athletes they have now with their sensibilities? This is not the monsters of the Midway anymore. This isn't guys who roll up their sleeves in the snow for the most part and can take a lot of stuff. These are sensitive athletes. They want their Game Boys. They want their Instagram people, their TikTok people. They get mad. They go on social media. It's a different kind of world, and not necessarily turning the clock back to 1992. So I think to go down a road in the NFL where players have an expectation because Scott Boras is going to tell you that my quarterback is playing too much, that won't fly in the NFL. But still, if you give him he becomes the lord of the manor in college, he'll get his way. And if the guy wants to leave, go ahead. There's the door.
From the audience, Utah, Darren writes in, he says, Malik Murphy left 9-3 Duke to go elsewhere. Really interesting. John in Winnipeg says, the term portal makes me think of Star Trek or Star Wars. It is Star Wars.
Me too. I do. I absolutely do.
Well,
because
and the
one day they
hoodie
get out
with
of bed.
Bill.
Yes, because one day they get out of bed and you're playing for Ohio, and you're like, Curtis wants to play now for Indiana. He gets out of bed. He goes over to the Star Trek transporter machine. Next thing you know, he's a Hoosier, and because it really does feel that way, to the detriment, quite frankly, of the game, of the integrity of what college was. But I'm not naive. If guys are going to make millions of dollars, who are to sit there and say, you shouldn't go for it? But the problem is, for instance, the bowl system, which the bowl year it was always my favorite. The Rose Bowl in my family, being Oregon Duck fans, having lived in Eugene, Oregon, the Pac-12 was going to be something big. But the problem is now with the portal, with guys declaring themselves as pros, you can get into a big bowl game, even a Rose Bowl, and half the teams that played doesn't show up. So what's the point of the game? They've really destroyed what was a very magical, but that's just the world, right? That's an older guy talking about how it used to be when, even the conference championships were a big deal. Now it's like, okay, so where does this put us in the playoff contention? Where are we now in terms of our seeding? That's what it is now. It's not trying to win the Aloha Bowl. Oh, actually, no one wants to win the Aloha Bowl. But I'm just saying Orange Bowl, Sugar Bowl, those things that we grew up with, they may have a name on it, but the CFB championship, Oregon's looking to be the best team. That's all that matters. That's the only thing that matters.
Well, but we're talking about a 72-year-old coach who's still navigating his way in this new system. I mean, you and I have been in this business a real long time. We're nowhere near Belichick's age, and I'm still trying to figure out what the hell's going on. And we're making our way. It's just because it's not up to us. We're trying to navigate how the hell this is all going, and where it's going, and it's fast. Where Saban said, I'm out. That's the difference here, right? Belichick, I don't think he's doing this because of ego. I think he wants to coach. I don't think he's worried. Saban at least left on his own terms. Bill didn't. But what do you think about Saban now on TV and actually enjoying it, saying, I don't want any part of this, yet Bill dives head first into the pool?
It's an interesting sort of dichotomy when you look at these two gentlemen, where you have Saban who had just a legendary career with Alabama, and he went out what he felt was his own way, and is now kind of having fun. You watch College Game Day and with Pat McAfee and everybody else, and Herb and everyone else on he's having a good time. Where Bill, I just don't think from an ego standpoint really wanted to go out being not invited to the country club. The guy that used to be the club champion no longer is really that wanted in the front door. He also, by the way, in terms of ego, I believe in sort of the winningest of all time is 14 games short. Now, I'm not saying he's coming back just for the 14 games, but I'm saying it's not nothing. Maybe the Olsen twin wants to see another 14 wins. I don't know. Maybe this is her excitement.
He's got to pay for her hair and nails, Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, deep down, I don't think Bill Belichick is a happy person. Jeff, not many people are. But I know who's happy is you being on the air in Calgary again. That's what we need to talk about.
This was a long time in coming. It was incredibly difficult to get to this place. And you've been kind enough to have me on for the last several years, where I've sometimes talked about this. And very well, as an independent broadcaster yourself, just how turbulent the waters can be and how literally untrustworthy those waters are. And I think at some point I started to wonder, am I ever going to get back to the place where I feel like I belong? And so I was lucky enough. And look, everyone has their own feelings about companies they've worked for, but my relationship with Rogers was always excellent. And, obviously working at the Fan in Calgary, we had like the biggest numbers in the country. I understand why they do have fond feelings for me, because I probably made them millions of dollars. But at the end of the day, they also had to have a trust in the fact that there's not many of us left. I can count on one hand and probably half the fingers of how many guys are getting an opportunity to do what you're doing today and what I plan on doing in 2025. We have shows certainly that are on television here in Canada, but Pat McAfee's not Canadian. Dan Patrick's not Canadian. Colin Cowherd is not Canadian. And I'm like, well, on conventional corporate broadcasting in the sports world, where Bell has made sure they've almost wiped out any possibility of anybody having a career in it, Rogers is still hanging on to a degree. And I think, if I'm being honest, and it's the reason we call it Raw Mike Richards, is I'm going to tell you what I think and I'm going to tell you how it is. I believe that I'm probably going to be tested for 13 weeks to see if I can provide the kind of show that will garner the numbers and also garner the kinds of sponsorships that they can look at and go, you know what? Maybe there is something here. Well, you know damn well, Rod, that there is something here. That's why you've been on the air doing this show for the last number of years, because people in this country still want to have these kinds of conversations between guys like you and me. They still want opinion. They still want a take. They don't want what I think the podcast world, which is fine to one degree. On the other side, they're not broadcasters. So it's like two Cliff Clavins who know everything there is to know about drafts. They know everything there was about some fourth line checking guy from Moosonee. And I'm like, well, that's fine, but it's really boring. And you guys bore me, and I don't want to listen to 4 hours of that. And there's way too much of that. So you know what? If you want to talk, for instance, one of the goals of this new show is when I want to talk to someone who's of what I think newsworthy, of note, I don't care where he's from. If it's Pierre Poilievre, then Pierre's on the show. If it's Dana White because there's a big UFC, then Dana White's on the show. And I can guarantee if it was this week, it would either, I think Bill would probably turn it down, but I'm definitely talking to someone from North Carolina because I want to ask some questions and I want to know. So it's not going to be just necessarily, because it's only an hour. And there are spots that got to run on corporate television. So I don't have a lot of time. So I'm going to mess around at the beginning. I'll sprinkle some fun, sarcasm, and nastiness sprinkled throughout the hour. There's going to be some gambling talk. And that was the other thing, was the gaming issue. Because in Calgary, they are technically not what they call in the business live. Not like it is in Ontario, which means only so many of them are really legally allowed to advertise. And at this point, it's really only Play Alberta, which was the old WCLC or the ALGC. So if I want Bet365 or FanDuel or one of those other big ones to come on, I couldn't have done it before 2025. I wanted to start in October. I thought I would, but it's a compliance issue. So if you want to hear that gambling talk, and I know you do, I kind of had to wait for it. So I'm thrilled. I trust my people in Calgary. A guy by the name of Kerry Elliott is a unicorn when it comes to integrity and energy and everything else he's done to hang on and wait for me till I'm ready to get my team together. You know, Rod, it takes a team. It's not just me wanting to be on the air somewhere. You need a whole bunch of people to make this happen. And when you have to pay for it, someone else isn't paying for it, that takes some time. So that's why it's taken the time it has. I appreciate all the props and love and respect that I've got on all the social platforms in the last 40 hours after I made this announcement. And I am very much ready to go and get to what makes me tick. I think gets to what makes everyone else in this country tick, and certainly my great Albertans and those that live in Calgary, because I would be nothing without them. So I love that place, and I'm happy to be back.
John writes in, he says, congrats, Mike, on the new gig. You deserve everything you aspire for, dude. And you're right. We love this spit. He didn't say that. I did. You know what I mean? Mike, I'll say this. It's interesting you say that. We got to run for a break here, but you did leave Rogers on good terms, and I know that because they offered me that job after you left. I'm like, no. I can't do that. I'm not following that guy. And when I did get a show a year or two later of my own somewhere else at another station, what do? I'm looking around for the book that says be entertaining. There isn't one. There's no handbook for this. We had to figure it all out on our own. So, Mike, I'm proud of you, and I know it's going to be great. I will let you go, but Yeah, you deserve it, man. You're going to kill it. It's just going to grow and grow and grow from there. You know that.
Well, thank you personally for the support, because you've been a great supporter. Moose has been a great supporter of, being, having my back, which isn't common these days. I think we all miss that. So the fact that I'm able to be upright and take this job, I gotta be honest. There's a piece of you in this, and don't forget that, because I know I won't.
Thank you, buddy. Keep in touch. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says 2 of the most talented in the business on my screen. There you go. Well, make it 1. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Mike. Thanks to you all. We'll be right back on the RP Show here on Game Plus Television, live streaming and podcast, wherever the best podcasts are.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
SJHL Weekly on Monday, a live broadcast across our social media platforms where we interview your favorite players and coaches from across the league and preview the upcoming week. And on Thursday, SJHL Insider, where we look ahead to the weekend that will be and cover everything going on across the league. Catch it all on our social media platforms or on sjhl.ca.
Did you know that you can help save a life? And you can start right now.
Stem cells from male donors increase chances of positive outcomes for patients, yet they only make up 40% of our registry.
Today, there are hundreds of people in Canada searching for their life-saving match.
You can be a patient's best hope. Be a hero by registering with Canadian Blood Services Stem Cell Registry now.
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
Oh, yeah, he's back. Time for more of the Rod Pedersen Show.
Alrighty. In case I forget, I just want to tell you about Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. You know that we love them so much, but have you been there yet? That's the question. Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. We'll have you improve your game or go there just for fun. Really, whatever you'd like to do. Just take my word for it. State-of-the-art equipment, spacious shooting lanes, games for all ages. If you want, you can even use the Rod Pedersen Show lane and shoot at my face. Guys used to do that for free. Now they charge you. Overtime Hockey Lanes is the perfect destination to build your team, whether you're from the Calgary area or on the road from out of town. Book your lanes today, 28th Street Northeast, Calgary. El Sasco writes in on the 902 line, 902-518-3033. El Sasco says, hi, Rod. Raw Mike Richards standing on his head, spitting out truth bombs. I've fallen asleep listening to some amateur podcasters. Respect for y'all real seasoned broadcasters bringing legit heat to the fire. Blessings, El Sasco. Mike's right about the team. Ours is Clark, Darren, Joe, Ryan, Bryce. Who am I forgetting, Clark? The guys in the graphics, Josh, right? Clark said, good question. A lot of guys. Yeah, it is a team that I would have zero interest in doing on my own. I couldn't do it. Why, I name them all the time. Seriously. But I will tell you this story. When Mike Richards left, Fan 960, Ellie Kirsch, the Regina Rocket, called me and goes, we want you to replace Mike Richards. And I'm like, I'm just a play-by-play guy. I've never done that before. He goes, you can do it. That's the Rocket. I'm like, I don't want to do it. Actually, I said, there's only one job in Calgary that I want, and that ain't it. And we talked a little bit about, and Kelly's like, so you don't want it? I'm like, no. And he told me what the pay was. I'm like, still no. And then had the falling out with the Regina Pats, ended up starting the sports cage, but still had no clue what I was doing. And as I said to Mike, there's no handbook. There's literally no handbook for it. I looked high and low. Where's the handbook on how to host a sports talk show or a talk show in general? All I could find is be entertaining. And here we are several years later, still doing it. And Mike's still doing it. And him doing it in Calgary. Such a great guy. He used to bring me in to his studio in Calgary. When I was the voice of the Riders, he's doing morning radio in Calgary. And we would, like WWF wrestlers at the time, come up with a script, what we're going to talk about, wear at each other, call each other down, and the other teams and the province. It was all fun. And I think finally people have realized what we were doing. My God, it was fun. And then it became not fun. And it's fun again. Regarding the show Landman, oh, it's so good. I'm so obsessed. Billy Bob Thornton. I'm telling you, rivals Yellowstone. Yellowstone will always be number one for a variety of reasons, but Landman's right up there. And Chad writes in from Lethbridge. He says, Paramount Plus, $10.99 plus tax. Glad you took my recommendation and watched Landman. Well, how could I not? I mean, the promos were all over the place, especially if you watched Yellowstone, right, with a fire in the first episode. But I saw the thing. Didn't even know where Allie Larder had been since Varsity Blues in the 90s. All of a sudden, she pops up on this show, and they say it's the most streamed, what do you call it? Not pilot, but show premiere in television history or streaming history. 14.75 million streams of their first episode. Landman. Watch it. Because as I said to Darren, I didn't say this on the air, but cowboy shows, I grew up in that world. I'm not entertained. Well, I am, but it's not fascinating to me. Hockey, football, movies, this, I don't know the oil industry. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's so fascinating. Plus, Billy Bob Thornton's cool as hell. And Allie Larder, not too hard on the eye. Jim Young writes in regarding, I guess, my top 5 all-time CFLers list, because Taylor in Calgary wrote in and said, Rod, who's your all-time top 5? And I'm just looking at by position-ish. Quarterback, Doug Flutie. Receiver, Geroy Simon. Running back, George Reed. D-line, Grover Covington. Secondary, Les Brown. Some of those gentlemen gotten to know personally, and they're all great guys. Jim Young writes in from Armstrong, BC. Dirty 30, BC Lions Hall of Famer. And he says, Geroy broke my receiving record almost 30 years later. And here's the thing that people do not understand. There's a bit of a debate raging at rodpeterson.com right now in the comments section because my commentary today, I referred to Bill Belichick as an egomaniac. And somebody wrote in and goes, oh, Rod calling somebody else an egomaniac, pot calling kettle black. Somebody else wrote in and said you need to have confidence, which is in a lot of ways what ego is. Ego is like taking arrogance to it, or confidence to another level. I don't think Geroy Simon is, what should I say? He's just a confident guy. And I know him really well. And clearly, Jim, you do too, being a Lions great. I just talked to him at Grey Cup. I love Geroy Simon. But if you ever see Geroy's motivational speech, he will tell the crowd that when he played, he believed he was the greatest receiver on the planet. Forget about Chris Carter. Forget about Justin Jefferson. Forget about the great. Geroy really believed he was the best. Maybe he was. When he retired, he was, CFL stats-wise. Does that make you a jerk? Because he's not a jerk. Really believed in himself. We did not get to the sports update. We'll do that next in the final segment of the show on a very fun show today. We're live on Game Plus TV, streaming live and podcast wherever the best podcasts are.
From cash spiels to grand slams, club competitions to world championships, there's a lot to keep up with on the pebbled ice. Stay up to date with the Hardline Curling Show, your weekly source for everything curling, with the latest event results, breaking news, interviews with players, executives, and insiders, plus behind-the-scenes access you won't get anywhere else. Follow us on Facebook, X, Instagram, and subscribe to our YouTube. Make sure you don't miss a thing.
We're all capable of doing more. More speed, more reps, more commitment to getting every detail perfect. And that's why it's important we never miss a donation appointment. Blood and plasma donors are needed every day in Canada to support thousands of patients that rely on Canada's lifeline. We're asking you to join the Hockey Gives Blood Partners for Life team. Join today by downloading the Give Blood app or book online at blood.ca/HGB.
Sounds like he knows what he's doing a little bit.
As long as you're entertained. Aren't you entertained?
Welcome to the Create Space at IKS Media. Meetings, podcasts, studio. Whether you're here to collaborate or educate, our versatile meeting places, workspaces, and studios await. Your next big idea starts here. Make our space your space. The Create Space at IKS.
Hi, my name's Logan Stanko.
And I'm Connor Bedard.
We're both Hockey Gives Blood player ambassadors and proud to be blood donors.
There are thousands of patients each year in Canada that rely on a generous stranger to save their life.
Please book an appointment today to donate blood at blood.ca/HGB.
Text 902-518-3033. 902-518-3033. Pick up your phone and text RP, that's Rod Pedersen. Text 902-518-3033.
Here's how your business can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show. All you have to do is contact us, and we will tell you all about the dynamic and exciting marketing opportunities we have, utilizing a fully integrated 360-degree multi-platform. Imagine your business seen and heard across Canada on Game Plus TV and around the world on the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. You will use one of the most overused expressions in sports. You gotta be kidding me. Get your business involved. Contact the Rod Pedersen Show today.
You got something to say? You want to add to the show? What are you waiting for? Don't just sit there. Say something. Now, back to the studio with Rod.
Okay, we're back, and we just did talk about Overtime Hockey Lanes. I will tell you that it is brought to you by Overtime Hockey Lanes. Sorry, I was just responding to some messages here because it's been a very good day. I appreciate the voters of the Western Canadian Baseball League, whoever it was. The teams, maybe other media, I'm not sure. The Moose Jaw Miller Express being named the top play-by-play broadcaster of the WCBL. We're taking a victory lap, okay, because it's a good way to end 2024. We've been through a lot, and it feels the haters pucker up. So that's going on today. The sports has just been wild today. And I appreciate you all tuning in today for the 1397th show. One of the most fun. Mike Richards has a lot to do with that. Trey Ford in hour one. As I said, we're a little backwards, Richards and I. This came from an advisor of mine. He goes, Rod, hockey is your passion, but football is your business. And I'm like, I can go along with that. I like that. Baseball also, I guess, my business now too, but I don't have a lot of feelings when it comes to football as much as I do with hockey. But it's a business to me, football, and the coverage that we do. And if it's good for business, we will talk CFL all winter. And what I mean by that is we'll put the guests on all winter if the CFL wants to keep serving them up. Like what we've been on a bit of quite a run here. Trey Ford, the Edmonton quarterback. Mark Killam, their head coach. Calgary's new quarterback, Vernon Adams Jr. BC's new head coach, Buck Pierce. Keep it rolling. Been pretty quiet out there in Eastern Canada. Would like to hear from you. But yeah, I have no issue with it. But I'm not going to sit here and talk about goofy things and make stuff up like who's your top 5 all time. I'll allow it. I'll answer it, but I'm not going to talk about it for an hour. Keep the people coming from the league. We'll keep interviewing them. It's good. And then the other thing is this Belichick stuff, man. Like literally, is it what meets the eye? Because it seems like it's what meets the eye. Bill Belichick is now a college football coach. 6-time Super Bowl champion with New England. Signing a 5-year deal to coach North Carolina's Tar Heels at an average salary of $10 million per season. Spend some time digging into this, if you don't mind, because the coverage of it's been interesting, too. With the Patriots, we never knew what he made because it was a privately held team owned by Robert Kraft, whereby this university, it's public record. So $10 million a year. Is this more or less than he made in New England? Probably more, but we don't know. Belichick's contract was approved by UNC trustees and governors this morning. Meanwhile, so the coverage and fallout will continue for days. And Belichick's meeting with the media this afternoon. Colorado two-way standout Travis Hunter is the Associated Press College Football Player of the Year. That came down today. Hunter received 26 of the 43 votes from a panel of Associated Press top 25 voters. Boise State tailback Ashton Genty finished second with 16 votes, and Arizona State running back Cameron Scatabo received 1 vote. A throwback player who rarely left the field, Hunter had 92 catches for 1,152 yards and 14 tugs. And he had 4 picks and 11 pass breakup as a shutdown corner. But he's not going to be in the college football playoff. Nor will Miami Hurricanes quarterback Cam Ward, who was also a finalist for the Heisman. 14 NHL games on tonight's schedule. In the National Hockey League with 6 of Canada's 7 teams in play. Toronto is home to Anaheim. Montreal welcomes Pittsburgh. Winnipeg Jets have a home date with the Vegas Golden Knights. Calgary's at home to Tampa Bay, and Vancouver gets the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers in their barn, and the Oilers on the road to Minnesota. Way back, first segment of this hour, we played our breakaway bet with Moose Dupont, where we picked the games tonight. It's a lot of fun. Sport betting, we call it. We don't put any money on the line. We have fun. We check the scores and scores every night and the next morning, but we don't file for bankruptcy or lose our house. The Toronto Raptors seek to end a 3-game losing streak with a visit to the Miami Heat tonight. Toronto's all-star forward Scotty Barnes won't play. He's going to be out a while. The Raptors have confirmed he sprained his right ankle earlier this week against the Knicks. Team says the injury will be evaluated again next week. How do you know when the Raptors suck? When tickets can be had for $10 to the game tonight at Casilla Center. And I had planned to go. Not going to happen, though. They've already been here once. Last year I went when the Raptors were here. It was the final weekend of the regular season. They played a Friday, Sunday, and oh, my God. I don't know much about basketball, but I can tell a team that's checked out. And the Raptors did that weekend. But I'm not going tonight. Got a meeting in my club and a few other things to do. Sports Update brought to you by Seat Giant. Stop paying U.S. dollars for concerts and sporting events. It's Canadian-owned and operated with Canadians in mind. Super Bowl, college football, Taylor Swift, Justin Timberlake. They've got it all. Use promo code RPShow for 15% off now. Go to their website at seatgiant.ca. And also for Landmark Cinemas, get more of what you love. Free movies and concession items, invites to exclusive screenings, special events, and more. There are 3 rewarding programs for you to choose from. Go to their website, landmarkcinemas.com, to register today. Thank you to Trey Ford of the Edmonton Elks, Mike Rogers of City TV Calgary. How about that? Sounds pretty good. How about that? You got one of those in you, Clark? Yeah, there you go. I knew you would. There, I got another one. Hey, was trying to get a hold of Darian Durant. I have not been able to get a hold of Darian for tomorrow's show. Yeah, he hasn't written me back. But I know we got Jim Barker. There will be a lot of this talk of Belichick. It's going to be fun for a Football Friday tomorrow. Join us then. Till then, stay safe.
Let's make some noise!